peanut. 200 calories per bar, 10 grams of fat, 10 grams of carbs, 15 grams of protein. Wild chocolate peanuts. Can't say I've ever heard of that flavour before. Very nourishable. Protein Works only do one type of protein bar. This is vegan, by the way. So any vegan lovers out there, vegan lovers? Is that a term, vegan lovers? Any vegan people out there? They're nice. I think they do like 5 or 6 different flavours. I don't know if this is my favourite. There was another one. I think I had the cookies and cream. I think that one was better. But either way, I'm going to eat some protein whilst I am waiting for more protein. So we usually wear the Vivos, these ones here. Usually the black ones, but I also have them in white. Really, really good pair of trainers, I would highly recommend. But we're gonna go for the Converse style today, just completely flat sole, as in like rigid flat, not flexible flat, because we're gonna do Romanian deadlifts. Please excuse how dirty they are. They're white trainers, what we're expecting. So yeah. Let's get to the gym. So I'm going to talk you through this workout today because this is the first time I've trained legs properly really for a good few weeks now. So we started off on the leg press because and this is going to be my focus for any exercise I do going forward, I didn't want to aggravate any pain in my Achilles and I didn't feel anything on this movement, which was great. So a few things that I would say with regards to the leg press is in terms of your foot position, the lower your foot is on the panel, the more dorsiflexion is going to be needed from yourself. So if you struggle with mobility in your ankles, I would recommend that you have your feet slightly higher up. In terms of depth, I always say go as low as you can without your heels coming up. As soon as your heels coming up, then just push up that little bit further. Don't go down as far. So yeah, really good set on that. We then did Romanian deadlifts. So this was the purpose as to why I had the shoes. Notice how straight my back is. I'm not gonna lie, this was incredibly heavy for me and I am really feeling it today. But I got a set done. And yeah, I do love this movement. It's such a good movement for your posterior chain. So you runners out there, get involved. But as you can see, very little bend in the knees. The back is completely straight. You could put a ruler on that, mate, and it'd be completely flat. So I was really happy with how that movement went. And then we went into the hamstring curls. Not the best of angles, I can only apologize, but notice how secure I am in the seat. Now, the reason I personally lean forward is because it allows me to, in contrast, push my bum into the seat behind me. This movement can be a real difficult one when it comes to making yourself secure. A lot of the time your bum can slide forward. So I would lean forward and pull yourself into the machine to get the movement spot on. And then we finish with adductors. So this is one of my fan favorite movements. This is on the highest setting in terms of the widest setting. So I start off in a standing position and yeah, as you can see, coming down and really squeezing together. I would always recommend, whether it's an adductor machine or an abductor machine, to pause in the middle. If you can't pause in the middle, then in my opinion, you can't control that weight. So just keep that in mind as and when you're doing this movement. Nice and slow, keep your bum securely down, use the handles and pull yourself into the machine and feel that burn. This isn't something that you should be kind of pulsing. I see people do this on a really heavy weight and I'm thinking, you're not even doing it properly. Stop it. So yeah, hope those few things help. Okay, that's a wrap, everybody. First leg session I've done in probably nearly 3 weeks now. Nearly 3 weeks. I did a little bit of a leg session last week, but it was very, very light. Obviously, with any injury, I suppose, there's fear that you make it worse. And with Achilles tendonitis or any form of trauma to the Achilles, in terms of rehab, it's a balancing act. It's not just a case of rest, because if you rest it without activating it too much, the Achilles will simply become weaker. And then when you do get back to normal exercise, you're going to have an imbalance, and then that's just going to trigger it again. So it is a balancing act of doing some strength movements
but equally applying rest as much as you can. So today I focused on posterior, so hamstrings and glutes and adductors. Stayed away from quadriceps. Well, I did leg press, but I didn't do any isolation work on my quadriceps. So yeah, it was a good session, good intensity. I'm definitely feeling the benefit of more carbohydrates, and I'm certainly feeling the benefit of not running as much. I say benefit, I'm feeling the difference. I don't think I appreciated quite as much during literally the heat of it. I didn't appreciate how much stress I was putting on my body, and I have to be realistic, it's a marathon. A marathon is really taxing and very demanding, and I was aware of that, but until you're outside of that bubble, you don't truly appreciate it. So I'm definitely feeling better for not doing as much running, but at the same time, relative to New York, ideally I'll be running, but anyway. Also got a Prime bottle. It was part of the co-op meal deal. I can see why it's doing so well, because this just tastes like an ice pop. I don't necessarily think it's a bad drink. I actually quite like the taste. But you can see why kids love it. At the end of the day, this bottle is targeted at kids. It's not targeted at adults. You know, this. I think the social media stars behind this get a lot of stick. But the reality of it is, their demographic is kids, and that's where the problem arises with the energy drink in particular. In the UK, it's regulated at 140 milligrams per bottle. In America, it's 200, so that's where it's a bit more of a concern. But that said, kids should not be having caffeine. They should not be having caffeine, and that's where the problem lies. They are selling millions of these bottles to kids who don't have the education and awareness, and I can understand the stress that it puts on parents. Anyway, tastes nice, to be fair.
So I have just had a nap. If you're not napping on Sunday, I would argue you are not doing Sunday correctly. What is technically classed as a nap anyway? Is there like a time limit with a nap? What is the technical term for a nap? Let's have a look. There's got to be a time limit on this. Nap. How long can a nap be? Naps can be short and long. Okay, from 15 minutes to an hour. Is 2 hours a nap? May feel groggy after you wake up. I think it is a nap, but I think how long you nap for will strongly dictate how you feel after that nap. I did it for an hour 20, and I feel great. I then woke up to an email from the New York City Marathon event, which is always exciting, although I won't lie, it does come with a tinge of frustration with what's been going on recently and the uncertainty now surrounding the event. But I had to pick my transportation. New York City is a big place. I have never been, so I don't know. But going off the maps, there's 3 transportation points that you can go to then get a lift or to get transport to the actual main event, to the start line. They're all about 90 minutes, one of which is the Staten Island Ferry. That's the one that I'm getting at 5:45 a.m. So I do need to still book accommodation. I've kind of put that on pause for obvious reasons, but there's still quite a lot available. A pretty penny, may I add. But I've technically done everything logistically now. It's just the accommodation I need to sort. But the baggage, I'm gonna have a poncho. I'm not going to be checking in a bag. The reason being is how you travel to the start line is how you need to finish the race. So if you bring any additional clothing, you're going to have to leave that at the beginning. Obviously, if you don't want to run in it, so you're just going to lose it. So they advise not to bring as little as possible. And then I'm going to pick up my number on the Friday. So this is the 3rd of November, the event being on the 5th. So yeah, it gets that little bit more real every time. It's 8 weeks today. 8 weeks today. Oh my gosh, I really hope I can do it. Nothing has changed in terms of my mindset. I'm still doing it, but obviously there's just that cloud, which ironically, or fittingly, is what is happening to Manchester right now, having had a lot of sun the past week. Just a lot of cloud now. So we'll have to see. 8 weeks. Hopefully my body can do what it needs to do. I've just got to stay disciplined, I've got to stay motivated, but yeah, all registered. So we will see what happens. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday morning and it's September the 11th. That's always a challenging thing sometimes to say out loud. September the 11th, wow. Right, we're going to talk about caffeine because I know a lot of you guys drink it, and I think a lot of us are drinking it for a whole myriad of reasons, but ultimately I think one of the biggest reasons is for performance. People drink caffeine for mental and physical improvements. Now, I'm not here to say whether that's going to be a significant improvement or a less significant improvement, but either way, it has been scientifically shown to improve both physical and cognitive performance. In terms of maximizing caffeine, in terms of its potential, however, I would recommend a few things. The first of which is have caffeine around 45 minutes before you train. That way you are feeling the full benefits of the caffeine. It has been fully digested to the point where your nervous system is utilizing that caffeine the most. Often I'll see people walking into the gym while still sipping on it, or even buying some caffeine whilst they're training. And yes, although you're going to get a little bit of stimulation, you're not getting its full benefit. So around 45 minutes before a workout, try to ingest caffeine entirely. In terms of how much to have a day, I would recommend around 350 to 400 milligrams. That can vary a little bit in terms of your size, in that the smaller you are, the less caffeine you're going to need. If you are exceeding that number, I would strongly recommend you look at your sleep hygiene. And by that, look at how much sleep you're getting every night. A lot of the time, caffeine is consumed to mask over poor sleep. And that is a battle that you're always going to lose in the long term. Caffeine is a supplement. It should be used as a supplement to aid our everyday life. But if we are to compare the benefits of this to 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, it is just not even it's not even a competition. So if you are somebody who is becoming dependent and reliant on caffeine, try your very best to take a step back and assess how it is that you can improve your sleep. Because from a performance perspective, more sleep is going to have a much bigger impact. Outside of kind of the beverages and the dry form, in terms of the coffee beans themselves, you have pre-workouts. Now, I won't go down that rabbit hole because I personally don't take them, so I'm not experienced in that area, but a couple of ingredients that you may be familiar with, but you're not entirely sure what they mean. Beta-alanine is a non-essential amino acid which can help delay the onset of lactic acid buildup in the muscles. Therefore, when you're training, the level of fatigue that you experience can be that little bit less. So beta-alanine is typically in all pre-workouts. And the other one is L-citrulline. L-citrulline promotes vasodilation of the blood vessels, which allows for a juicier pump, some people may say. Because at the end of the day, when there's more blood in the muscle, you have the ability to contract it more and therefore to fatigue it more. So those two ingredients are very common. Some of them have creatine, which I've spoken about in other videos. That is widely regarded as one of the most beneficial supplements that you can take, but just take it separately, in my opinion. So yeah, that's caffeine. I would recommend every couple of weeks to have a day off, because going back to what I said earlier, you can become very reliant on these things, and when you do, the moment you start to pull it back a little bit, it can cause serious brain fog, and I've experienced it so many times. And that in itself is a telltale sign that you are becoming way too dependent on these things. So just be mindful of how much caffeine you are having. 45 minutes before a workout, 350 to 400 milligrams tops. And there's a few ingredients in there that I mentioned that would be worth noting. That's everything. I hope this has helped. Don't know which one to have today. I bought this for the sake of this video, so I suppose I need to have it now. Anyway, that's everything. Any questions, let me know. I'll see you in the next one.